Have you ever woken up in the dead of night, exactly between 3 and 4 in the morning with your heart racing, feeling a heavy presence in your room and having the absolute certainty, even without knowing how to explain it, that someone very close to you is betraying you? It wasn't just any nightmare, it wasn't ordinary insomnia, it wasn't your imagination making up stories. It was God. It was exactly God trying to visit you, trying to show you the face of the one who smiles at you during the day, but sharpens the knife behind your back during the night. And if you are here now, listening to these words, it is because this visit is scheduled. Scheduled for this very night, 4 o'clock sharp. And what happens in this encounter will forever change the way you look at the people who sit at your table, who sleep in your bed, who call you brother, friend, or family. There is a reason why the Bible calls this specific time the hour of the saints. There is a reason why monks, for centuries, woke up exactly at 4 in the morning to pray. There is a reason why spiritual armies move precisely when the clock hits that moment, because it is in this interval that the veil between worlds becomes thin, transparent, almost torn. It is at this moment that angels descend with messages, that dreams become prophecies, and that God points his finger at the faces of the people who are sabotaging your life. But most people sleep. Most people do not answer this call. Most people miss the most important visit of their entire existence because they rolled over to the other side of the bed and went back to dreaming about nonsense. Not you. You are here. You were awakened. You were chosen. And what you feel in your chest, that tightness, that suspicion that won't go away, that feeling that someone is betraying you, but you can't identify who, is the Holy Spirit himself, screaming inside you that it is time to know the truth. Think about it. Why in these last few weeks have you been waking up exactly at this time? Why do you look at the clock and it says 4:04 or 3:58 or 4:11, always numbers that lock into your mind? Why do you feel like someone is watching you while you pray? It is not a coincidence, it is a summons. It is God saying, "Child, I am coming down there. I'm going to show you who it is. I'm going to expose the traitor." But you need to be awake, you need to be on your knees, you need to have a heart willing to receive a truth that will hurt before it sets you free. That is why I prepared this powerful digital book for you, The Chosen One's Manual for Protecting the Family. Because this pain you feel of knowing there is a traitor within your own circle, this anguish of not being able to trust even the person sleeping beside you, is just the visible layer of a much larger spiritual game. There is a strategy being plotted against your home, against your children, against your marriage, against your livelihood. And this strategy has a name, a face, and a responsible party within your own social circle. This digital book is no ordinary read. It is the map that shows exactly who is playing against your family, what the secret rules of this invisible war are that no one told you about, and what entities from other dimensions have already revealed about domestic traitors, about the modern-day Judases who infiltrate families to destroy them from within. This digital book was created for those who have awakened enough to understand that betrayal does not come from afar. It comes from close by, it comes from the same table, it often comes from the same blood. The link is pinned at the top of the comments of this video. But I must warn you with all the sincerity of my heart, this type of content rarely remains available for long. What is written in these pages challenges narratives that many people have an interest in keeping in the dark. Because as long as you cannot identify the traitor surrounding you, they remain free to destroy you. There have already been real attempts to silence this knowledge before. Do not wait for the right moment. The right moment is now, chosen one, because you did not come across this video by accident. Download it now and comment in the section below, "I am chosen and I will download the digital book." This comment is your act of faith. It is your yes before heaven. It is your spiritual signature that you are ready to receive the truth. And now that you have made this commitment, the next revelation I am going to tell you will be the final blow against this oppression that is trying to blind you. There are 3 unmistakable signs that appear in your life when God is about to expose a traitor in your house. And I need you to pay attention to each one because you have likely felt at least 2 of them in recent weeks. The first sign is the leaking of peace. You notice that your home, even when clean, even when organized, even when apparently calm, becomes heavy all of a sudden. You walk into a room and feel a chill on the back of your neck. Pets begin to behave strangely. Dogs bark at empty corners, cats meow while staring at closed doors. Your children, if you have any, become more restless, more aggressive, or cry for no apparent reason. This happens because the traitor carries with them a frequency of envy, greed, or old resentment, and this frequency permeates the environment every time that person crosses your threshold. The second sign is a sequence of small domestic accidents. A light bulb burns out for no reason. The shower breaks, the refrigerator stops working. Electronic devices that functioned perfectly start malfunctioning in series. This is not bad luck, chosen one. This is not a coincidence. This is not the product of poor quality. This is the physical manifestation of a spiritual disharmony generated by the presence of the traitor in your energetic field. And the third sign, the most important of all, is the recurring dream. You begin to dream of a blurred face, of a figure that is near you but you cannot see clearly, of snakes inside the house, of knives on the table, of unlocked doors, of people entering without being invited. This dream is God trying to show you who the traitor is even before the 4 o'clock visit. But you wake up, wash your face, and forget. And that is exactly why this visit needs to happen now, because dreams are no longer enough. You need a face-to-face encounter. You need a direct confrontation. And it is on this specific night, chosen one, that this encounter will materialize. When the clock strikes 4, you will wake up. Perhaps for no apparent reason. Perhaps with a start. Perhaps with the feeling that someone called your name. Do not ignore it. Do not roll over. Do not grab your phone. Get up. Sit on the edge of the bed, close your eyes, and ask out loud, "Lord, who is the traitor in my house?" And then, chosen one, prepare yourself. Because the answer will come. It may come as a vivid image in your mind, as a name that forms in your mouth before you even think it, as an absolute certainty in your chest that admits no doubt. It may come as a specific scene, a tucked-away memory that suddenly makes sense, a detail you always ignored that now lights up like a neon sign. God does not speak in codes to his chosen ones when it comes to protection. God points, God shows, God exposes. And when this exposure happens, you will no longer be able to pretend. You will no longer be able to hug that person the same way. You will no longer be able to trust them with secrets. And that is exactly what needs to happen, so that your life can finally begin to unlock. And here we reach the point that few have the courage to touch. Why were you, specifically, chosen to receive this visit? Why your house? Why your family, among so many others? The answer is uncomfortable but necessary. You were chosen because you are a real spiritual threat to the plan they tried to plot against your lineage. There is a purpose carried within you that, if fulfilled, breaks the cycles of entire generations. And the traitor inside your house is not there by chance. They were positioned, they were infiltrated. Often they themselves do not even know they are fulfilling this role, but they are being used as an instrument to stop you from reaching where you need to go. Perhaps it is someone who harbors silent envy of your light. Perhaps it is someone who feels smaller in the face of your calling and therefore sabotages your every step. Perhaps it is someone who carries a family curse that activates every time you move closer to prosperity. Perhaps it is someone who opened dangerous spiritual doors and is, without realizing it, leading entities into your home every time they step inside. This explains the inexplicable delays in your life. This explains the opportunities that slip away by a thread. This explains the relationships that sicken out of nowhere. This explains the constant feeling of walking with an invisible weight on your back. It is not you. It was never you. It is someone else. And this night will show you who. Now pay close attention, because everything I am going to reveal to you from here on is something that goes beyond common understanding. And for this very reason, I insist, the digital book, the Chosen One's Manual for Protecting the Family, needs to be in your hands even before this visit occurs. This digital book does not talk about betrayal in vague terms, Chosen One. It teaches you to recognize the 7 types of domestic traitors described in ancient scriptures. It shows you the specific prayers you must say at the exact moment God points out the name to you. It gives you the psalms of spiritual sealing, so that after the traitor is exposed, they completely lose the power to continue attacking you from a distance. It reveals the 3 objects that must never enter your house at the hands of someone who carries betrayal in their heart, and likely one of those objects is already inside right now. The link remains pinned at the top of the comments. And I reiterate, this content challenges everything they tried to teach you about family, about blood ties, about social obligations. There are forces that do not want you to discover this truth, because the moment you discover it, an entire system of manipulation that sustains your stagnation collapses. They have already tried to take this material down. They have called this content exaggerated, dangerous, and extreme. But the truth is that it simply exposes what has always been hidden. Download it now. Comment, "I am chosen, and I will download the digital book." Make this pact with your own destiny before this night arrives. And now, with this commitment made, let us go to the next layer of this revelation, because what comes now is what separates those who merely listen from those who actually receive. When the clock strikes exactly 4, what happens on the invisible plane is something that must be described carefully so you understand the scale of the experience. The guardian angels of your home form a circle of protection around your bedroom. The oppressive entities, those that have been fed by the traitor without anyone noticing, are forced to manifest, not to scare you, but to be identified. It is as if the masks fall all at once. This is why so many people report seeing shadows at exactly this hour, hearing footsteps in the hallway when everyone is asleep, or feeling the bed shake slightly. It is not the devil chasing you, chosen one. It is the devil being unmasked. And you, at the center of this event, are the judge designated by God to issue the verdict. That is why it is so important for you to be prepared. That is why it is so important for you to have in mind exactly the words you need to utter. The first phrase you should say upon waking is, "Lord, I receive this visit. I open the door of my consciousness. I authorize the truth to manifest in my home." This phrase is a key. It releases angelic access to your environment. Without this verbal authorization, many chosen ones miss the opportunity because even though they are awake, they keep the spiritual door closed out of fear. The second action is not to turn on the light in the first few minutes. Remain in the dark. Physical darkness in this context symbolizes the humility of one who recognizes they need divine light, not human light. The light will come, but it comes from within. It comes from revelation. It comes from a consciousness illuminated by God. The third action is to keep your right hand over your chest, specifically over your heart, while you ask the question. This ancient gesture is the posture of a servant before the Lord. It is the physical way of saying, "I trust, I obey, I accept whatever comes." And it is in that instant, chosen one, that the name arrives. It may be a name you would never imagine. It may be the name of someone you love deeply. It may be the name of someone you swore was your greatest ally. And then comes the hardest test. Will you have the courage to accept the truth, even when it contradicts everything you wish were true? Many chosen ones fail at this point. Many receive the name and try to negotiate with God. They try to say, "No, Lord, it can't be that person. There must be some mistake." But God makes no mistakes, chosen one. God only confirms what your spirit already knew, but what your mind refused to accept due to affection, habit, or emotional dependency. And when you accept it, without rebellion, without negotiation, without trying to protect the traitor from the consequences, something very great happens inside you. You feel a liberation that has no name. A weight of years falls from your shoulders. A clarity never before experienced takes over your mind. You begin to see not only the traitor, but the entire system of lies that person built around you. You begin to understand why that specific conversation left you feeling strange, why that advice you followed went wrong, why that opportunity vanished right after that visit. Everything connects, everything makes sense. And it is at this exact moment that your life begins to change course, because by knowing who it is, you also begin to know what to do. It is not necessarily a direct confrontation. It is not necessarily a fight, an argument, or a dramatic separation. Often, God's wisdom points to a much more sophisticated path: strategic silence, progressive distancing, a prayer of shielding, the invisible breaking of the bonds that kept you tied to that person. There are specific spiritual techniques for each type of traitor, and these techniques are millennia old, preserved by sages, prophets, desert fathers, and Christian mystics, and they are at your disposal today if you know where to look. And it is exactly here that I must remind you, with all the urgency in the world, of the digital book, The Chosen One's Manual for Protecting the Family. Because receiving the name of the traitor without knowing what to do next is like getting a diagnosis without a treatment. It is like waking up to the problem and not having the medicine on your nightstand. This digital book was written with exactly this post-revelation moment in mind. It gives you, page by page, the practical steps after God shows you the name. It teaches you the sealing prayer to prevent the traitor from continuing to have spiritual access to your home, even if they remain physically close. It teaches you how to purify the environments that person frequented, using items you already have at home, without needing to buy anything expensive. It teaches you how to shield your children, your finances, and your marriage from the residual influence that remained. It even teaches you how to discern if the traitor can be redeemed through prayer, or if they need to be cut out of your life. This digital book is the direct complement to the 4 o'clock visit. Without it, the revelation remains incomplete. With it, the revelation is transformed into total liberation. The link is at the top of the comments, pinned, highlighted, waiting for you. And I reiterate for the 3rd time, Chosen One, because you need to understand the gravity of this moment. This content has already been targeted for removal. This knowledge has already been attacked by those who benefit from your blindness, and it is no exaggeration to tell you that the day may come when this material simply disappears from the platform. Do not trust in chance. Do not trust in later. Download it now. Comment, "I am chosen and I will download the digital book." This comment is your pact with heaven. It is your pledged word that you will not let this opportunity slip away. And now that you have made this pact, I am going to reveal to you the most delicate aspect of this 4 o'clock visit, something that not every chosen one can handle hearing, but that you need to know because this is why you were summoned to this video. There is a detail about the 4 o'clock visit that many people do not mention. After God shows you the name of the traitor, he also shows you your share of the responsibility. Yes, chosen one, you heard right. Because a traitor can only infiltrate where there is an open door. And that door many times was opened by you without realizing it over the years. It may have been through the naivety of trusting too much. It may have been through the need to please everyone. It may have been through the fear of setting boundaries. It may have been through an unresolved emotional need that made you accept unacceptable things in exchange for affection. And that is why the visit does not end only with the denunciation. The visit ends with a proposal for healing. God points out the traitor, but he also points out your wound that allowed the traitor to enter. And this part, chosen one, is where most people cry. Not for the traitor, not for the betrayal, but for the realization that they carried an open door for years without knowing it. This crying, however, is holy. This crying washes. This crying purifies. This crying closes the door permanently with a divine padlock, with an angelic seal, with the blood of protection. And after this crying, chosen one, comes peace. A peace you haven't experienced since childhood. A peace that seems to come from another place, from another dimension, from a source that was blocked and is now flowing again. And it is in this peace that you sleep again, now protected, now conscious, now the master of your own house once more. Because a house only truly belongs to the one who knows all its inhabitants, including the invisible ones, including the disguised ones, including the traitors. In the days following the visit, curious things will begin to happen around you. The traitor, even without knowing they were exposed, will begin to act strangely in your presence. They will become uncomfortable. They will invent excuses not to visit you. They will disappear for a few days. Or on the contrary, they will become artificially clingy, trying to reaffirm a closeness that is dissolving on the spiritual plane. You will feel it, chosen one. You will feel every movement of this person, as if you had an internal radar. You will perceive the lies before they even leave their mouth. You will see the intentions behind the gestures. You will understand the subtext of every text message. It is as if you have gained a sixth sense, and in fact, you have. It is the sense of discernment, activated by the visit, strengthened by prayer and consolidated by the acceptance of the truth. And then, gradually, without fanfare, without fighting, without drama, you will begin reorganizing your life. You will decrease the interaction. You will change the topics of conversation. You will stop sharing important plans. You will build around yourself an invisible wall that only the true ones can cross. And on the other side of that wall, chosen one, your life will begin to prosper in a way you didn't even know was possible. Opportunities will appear, money will flow, health will return, deep sleep will come back, true relationships will draw near, attracted by the clean frequency that now emanates from your home, because that was what the traitor was blocking. It wasn't God who was denying you blessings. It was a human intermediary who was intercepting your blessing and diverting it elsewhere. And perhaps now, hearing this, you are feeling a shiver. Perhaps you have tears in your eyes. Perhaps a name is already forming on the tip of your tongue. Do not be afraid. That name reached you because God is anticipating the visit. God, in His infinite mercy, is preparing you little by little so that the impact of the truth does not shatter you. Welcome that name. Do not speak it out loud yet. Keep it in your heart. Wait for the confirmation at 4 o'clock. And when it comes, and it will come, chosen one, because you are a central piece in this transition happening on the spiritual plane, you will have absolute certainty. You will have peace in the midst of pain. You will have wisdom in the midst of the shock. You will have direction in the midst of the redirection, because that is how God operates with His chosen ones, not with violence, not with brutality, but with loving revelation that sets free while it teaches, that hurts while it heals, that exposes while it protects. And to close this summons that you receive today, I need, with an open heart, to hand you for the last time in this message, the digital book, the Chosen One's Manual for Protecting the Family. This digital book is the gift I was able to prepare for you, Chosen One, so that the 4 o'clock visit is not just an isolated event, but the beginning of an entire life of protection, discernment, and spiritual dominion over your home. Inside it, you will find specific chapters on the 7 types of domestic traitors, the ancient prayers of exposure that the early desert fathers used, the shielding psalms that the kings of Israel prayed before sleeping, simple rituals for purifying environments that anyone can do with items from their own home, and the final chapter, which is the heart of this digital book, on how to rebuild your family after the truth is revealed. Because revelation is only the beginning, chosen one, and reconstruction is where your new life happens. The link is pinned at the top of the comments. This content, I reiterate with responsibility, lives under constant threat of removal. There have been those who tried to silence these truths before. There have been those who called this content extreme, dangerous, or unacceptable. But what it actually does is simply return to the chosen one what has always been theirs by divine right, the knowledge of the rules of the invisible game being played against your family. Do not wait any longer. Do not leave it for tomorrow. Do not believe you will have time later. The right moment is now, and you did not reach this part of the video by chance. Download the digital book, The Chosen One's Manual for Protecting the Family, now, and comment, "I am chosen, and I will download the digital book." This comment is your yes, it is your signature, it is your commitment to your own liberation. And when the clock strikes 4 in the morning tonight, you will be ready, you will be awake, you will be on your knees. And God will visit you. He will point out the name, He will show you the hidden face of the traitor. And your life, your entire life, chosen one, will never be the same from that moment on. Because you were chosen. Because you were summoned, because you are ready, and because finally, after so many years of imposed blindness, the truth is going to knock on your door exactly at 4 in the morning, and you are going to open it.